I think that the 3 points are fundamental. The first is to improve and to increment our cooperation on defense and security via this exercise that is the Structured Security Dialogue EU-GCC, where we are discussing deeply about cybersecurity, counterterrorism, disaster preparedness, and many other topics. That is an early stage in order to develop a stronger cooperation even on this field. The second is economy, investments, renewable energies. In November 5th in Kuwait City, we will have the EU-GCC Business Forum, the annual one, where our companies and our rulers will work together for developing new opportunities for the prosperity of both regions. And finally, the third, the most important one, to cooperate more and more for the peace in the Middle East, starting with Gaza, stopping the killing in Gaza, but even Syria, even Yemen, Iran, and many other topics when we can cooperate together.
Let me start with the economic interest first of all. Let me start with the free trade agreement between the EU and the GCC. It has been pending for years. What's still holding it back?
I think that since we started the new course of the relations EU-GCC during the last year, in particular after the summit of the leaders in October 2024 in Brussels, many steps ahead were moved. In particular, our teams, our negotiating teams are meeting frequently. I don't want to say once a month, but almost once a month, and they are trying to revive the free trade agreement at regional level for liberalizing the markets. At the same time, we are working even with some member states of GCC, in particular United Arab Emirates, for having a EU-United Arab Emirates free trade agreement negotiation. We just launched the negotiation and is going ahead.
And is this negotiations or the free trade agreement between the EU and the UAE could be announced before the end of this year?
I don't want to create expectations announcing deadlines. What I can say is that in any case, every bilateral free trade agreement like the one EU-UAE resonates in complementarity with the free trade agreement at regional level. And of course, it's clear that it is easier to negotiate with a single country, but keeping in mind that even if we close earlier the negotiation at bilateral level, we want to work for the entire bloc, for the GCC-EU free trade agreement, for liberalizing the markets and giving to our investors on both sides new opportunities for prosperity, new jobs, and new exchange of technologies and so on.
But let me ask you one more question about this agreement with the UAE. What can you tell us about the key elements?
It's a free trade agreement. Is a liberalization market agreement. So our aim is to ease as much as we can the conditions of both markets on both sides, in order to allow our companies, our governments to deal on the economic side, trade and investment, in an easier way. Then, of course, there are discussions between the negotiating teams, but it's better to not spoiler the dialogue because it's very sensitive in order to reach the result as soon as possible.
Yeah, for us it's important to understand. And what about the Saudi Arabia? What's the latest on the similar agreement with the kingdom?
With the agreement with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, we have many projects and even several processes ongoing, like the MOU for the energy cooperation, European Union, Saudi Arabia. But even I would say now we just launched as European Union the new tool called the Strategic Partnership Agreement, and we aim to negotiate even with the KSA a strategic partnership agreement that it implies not only trade and investment, but even the opportunity of dealing on the people-to-people, on cultural exchange, on energy, sometimes even on security. So we have a very high interest to negotiate new deals with the Saudi. But at the same time, I have to say that the relations are ongoing. Even on the multilateral side, we appreciate a lot the efforts of Saudi Arabia, not only for the region, but at the multilateral level, at global level.
I remember that you met with the Saudi Minister of Economy, Faisal Ibrahim, recently in Brussels. What were the main topics of cooperation discussed in this meeting?
Of course, we had the opportunity to discuss about the main challenges in both regions in terms of economic investments, trade opportunities, and so on. If I look at our both regions in renewables, in AI and new technologies, in new investments, in transformative programs, we are we are very supportive to, and our efforts are very present. I would like to say that when I look at the transformative program of Saudi Arabia, very ambitious and very relevant, I see, first of all, a huge interest for our companies from Europe, but even a program that it matches a lot with our digital and ecological transformation that we are supporting here and we are implementing here in Europe. So our programs can match, and our talks were very important in this direction.
Let's talk more about the fields. Given this ongoing war in Ukraine, to what extent has this increased maybe the EU's motivation to have more deep partnership with the Gulf, with Saudi Arabia, for example, in fields such as energy or maybe renewable energy?
I have to say that usually we were and we are partners for different kind of sector, in different kind of sectors. Of course, historically, we have a strong relations for when it comes to fossil fuels. But now, as I said, the transformative programs that the GCC countries, even looking at Saudi, are supporting in terms of investments in renewables are very relevant to us. I would like to mention, for instance, hydrogen. On hydrogen, we can work very close in order to develop green hydrogen and sometimes even producing the green hydrogen in the region, in the GCC market, and then moving the hydrogen to the European market. But there is even more, because when it comes to new technologies and now the rush for the database, the important database for the AI, and all what we have to do in terms of servers, the region again can be very crucial for our common interest of investing in new technologies and AI, and so on. I think that on the renewables, even at a certain point, investing in the direct links between the grids, the electric grids of both continents, we can do a very good job, and many of these points are even mentioned in the final statement that our foreign ministers, on which our foreign ministers agreed in Kuwait City during the ministerial meeting.
How do you assess maybe the role of the Gulf countries in the efforts of stopping or ending the war in Gaza, especially I speak here about Riyadh and its involvement in the two-state solutions during the UN General Assembly meetings?
Let me say that as European Union, we are very proud of being together with Saudi Arabia among the funders and the countries of the regional organization that launched the Global Alliance for the Two-State Solution. It's a global alliance that is increasing more and more, and the numbers of participants are increasing more and more, and this is very important as initiative for developing a perspective for the two-state solution on the long term. At the second, you know, at the same time, we have many member states, in particular during the last UNGA, that in the framework of the so-called New York format launched by France and Saudi Arabia, many member states recognized Palestine, the Palestinian state. And third, as our minister stated in the final statement in Kuwait, we totally support the plan of President Trump for stopping the war in Gaza and launching a process for reconstruction of Gaza and even guarantee the prosperity to the people of Palestine. This is very important, and all together we agree on this plan.